Hey everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And in this video, upon popular request, I'm going to be talking to you about how to go VAT registered within your Amazon FBA business. So I'm going to be talking about the steps that you need to take, how the process works, and towards the end of the video, I'm going to be giving you some actionable steps of what you need to do to go VAT registered, the kind of softwares that you need, what the implications are, and how it's going to affect your business, okay? Going VAT registered can be an extremely daunting process. Okay, and I'm speaking from experience. Okay, if you go look at the channel, I've spoke about it before. But really, it can, if you don't have the correct knowledge, it can be a very daunting and nerve-wracking process, right? And that's typically because most people, like myself, who get into Amazon probably start it as a side hustle or it may be their first business, and they, the ones who see great results, so the ones who see quick success, maybe they're doing 10, 15, 20K a month, and they're really creeping up on that VAT registration threshold, right? They've never ran a business before, they don't understand VAT, don't understand how business works, and that is absolutely fine, right? But the implications of that basically are that you won't know how to get that registered, you don't know what it means, how it's going to affect your business, and ultimately how to set it all up and register it all, etc. Okay. Now, I'm speaking from experience, as I've alluded to before. This was me, probably 2.5, 3 years ago now when we went back registered. But I can assure you, it's not as scary as you thought. You just need to know the simple processes and how it actually works and how it's going to affect the business. Okay. So what I'm going to do is just go into explaining how it actually works and what VAT is. So first of all, let's understand what actually is VAT, okay? So VAT stands for value added tax, and it's an indirect tax imposed by the government and it's collected by HMRC. The standard rate of VAT within the UK is 20%. However, there are a lower rate, which is 5%, and also there are some products that are exempt, which is a zero rate VAT. Now, the majority of the products that you will be selling will be standard rate 20% VAT products, okay? However, some 5% rate VAT products, some zero rated VAT products will creep in there and will come in there. And it's important that after you go VAT registered, you understand, if you are selling any zero rated VAT products and actually make sure they're being reconciled correctly and making sure you're not charging unnecessary VAT. So how does VAT work? How is it charged? And ultimately, who pays for it? So firstly, let's just have a look and analyze the supply chain. So VAT is applied at each stage of the process, okay? So all the way from the manufacturer of the product who actually gets the raw materials and makes the product, all the way to the end consumer who buys the product from a retail store or Amazon, etc. So the manufacturers, they will produce the goods and they will sell them on to the wholesaler or the distributor, adding VAT onto the cost price of the product, okay? The wholesaler or the distributor will buy their product off the manufacturer. They will then reclaim the VAT from that. They will then add their margin and sell the product to the retailer or the Amazon seller, which is us, with VAT included. Okay, then the Amazon seller, the retailer, the brick and mortar store will buy off the wholesaler. Okay, so that is in effect us at this process. Okay, so we will buy off the wholesaler or the distributor. We will buy the product with the VAT included. We will then reclaim the VAT back. We will then add our percentage margin on, and then we will sell it with the VAT included to the end consumer. Okay, so I'm going to give you an example of this in a moment, but that's basically how it works. So at each stage of the process, businesses add their own value to the product, and VAT gets charged accordingly at each stage of the process. So the manufacturer will pay some, the distributor, the online retailer, and ultimately the person who ends up paying for the most of it is the end consumer, as they are unable to reclaim the VAT back. So let me show you a real world example using an Amazon FBA product example that I've got just here. So what I've got here is an example for a non-VAT registered seller as opposed to a VAT registered seller, okay? So first of all, ignore this side and we're just gonna look at the non-VAT registered side, okay? So looking at an example, which if you're a non-VAT registered seller at the moment, this will resonate with you because this is exactly how the process works and how you work out your margins, right? Your cost of goods, including VAT, is £3.60, okay? You may be selling that product for £12. Your Amazon fees will be £4.80, including VAT. That means you'll be making a return on investment of 100% and a profit margin of 30%. Apologies, I don't know why it's rubbed out there, but yeah, that's, on paper, I'm pretty sure all of you guys would agree. If you found a product like that, it's a pretty good product, right? So if you're just about to go VAT registered and sat there thinking, how does it work? How do I work out my margins? This is exactly what the product would look like after you go VAT registered. Okay. So your cost of goods would now be X VAT. Okay. So you would now be able to reclaim the VAT back on the purchase of the product. Okay. So instead of now paying £3.60, you're able to claim the 20% VAT back from the product, meaning that your cost of goods is now £3. Okay. So you've saved 20% on the cost of goods. Your sale price remains the same at £12. However, now you have to charge VAT on it. Okay. So now instead of selling it for £12, you're selling it for £10 plus VAT. So £12 is the sale price, but £2 of that will go straight to HMRC as VAT. Okay. So you've got now, instead of, yes, your cost price is cheaper, but you've got to pay that £2 in VAT there. Now, that's not the only thing. Now you get to claim the 20% back that you paid on the Amazon fees in VAT back because you are VAT registered. So your Amazon fees now drop from £4.80 to £4. Okay, so just to recap, you can claim the VAT back on your Amazon fees and also your cost of goods sold. Okay, so how will this impact and influence your profit margins? Okay, so it will now mean that you make £3 profit instead of £3.60. So you'll make 60p less, and you will now make 100% ROI still, and you will make a 25% profit margin. So your profit margin has dropped by around about 20%. Now, the reason why the return on investment is the same is because simply your cost price is lower. So your profit margin is lower, but you're also paying less for the product. The ROI in this example has stayed the same. What has dropped is the profit margin, which has dropped to 25%. So with the new VAT implications and the new VAT fees on the new VAT on Amazon fees, you should now expect your margins to drop around about anywhere from 3-4% all the way from 6-7-8% after going VAT registered. Okay, so these new VAT implications on Amazon fees have actually made it a great thing for bigger Amazon sellers and ones that are VAT registered. So unfortunately, due to the way that Amazon's set up and the way that the Amazon marketplace works, it is actually harder for a VAT registered seller to sell within the UK than a non-VAT registered seller. So the non-VAT registered sellers still do have an advantage over non-VAT registered sellers. So to give you an example of this, if you were a builder or a contractor and you were charging £100 per hour, okay, if you go VAT registered and you start doing really well and you go VAT registered, you can now start charging £100 plus VAT. So in effect, £120. And if you're selling to another business who's VAT registered, they're still paying the same price. They were paying £100 before, they're now paying £100 plus VAT. So they're paying £120 up front, but they're able to claim the £20 back. So there's no difference there at all, right? So the contractor still makes the same amount of money. However, in terms of Amazon, you're selling a product for £10 and you're selling it for £10 when you're not VAT registered. When you go VAT registered, you can't increase your price. You can't change any more because otherwise you're not going to generate the sales. Okay. So now, you were selling it at £10 before and you're selling it for £10 after. So you're the one that's taking the hit on that margin. Okay. Now, again, as I alluded to a moment ago, these new Amazon fees, the new VAT implications on the Amazon fees has made it 10 times better for VAT registered sellers, simply because there's less of a gap in how unfair it is from non-VAT registered sellers to VAT registered sellers. And if you sell on Amazon at the moment and you are an existing seller, you'll know exactly what I mean. So to go VAT registered, I would recommend speaking to your accountant. Maybe you've done £70,000 in turnover, you've got £20,000 in turnover left. I would breach the conversation with your accountant and I would say, hey, we've done £70,000 in sales. We're looking to go VAT registered really soon. Can you outline the process of me and the costs involved in order to go VAT registered? Okay, because you're going to need an accountant to do the initial filings of VAT. So initially registering for you. They're going to need to do the quarterly or monthly or yearly VAT returns, whichever one you decide to pick. And ultimately, they're going to need to help reconcile it all with you. So there will be a cost to this. So I would recommend speaking to an accountant. And this is because as a business owner, you are responsible for collecting the VAT and reconciling it all correctly, okay? Which can be a real minefield when you start out. So I'd highly recommend anybody coming up to this stage, maybe you've done 50, 60, 70,000 in revenue, go speak to an accountant and get professional advice and get them to set it all up for you, okay? So just to go into VAT returns a bit more, you can either do them on a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, or an annual basis, okay? We personally do them on a quarterly basis do, which splits it up throughout the year, and it just makes it efficient for us and it works for us. Okay, you can do it monthly or you can do it annually, completely up to you. Okay, and what a VAT return actually is where you declare your VAT amount to HMRC. Now, if you're predominantly selling in the UK, then you are going to owe money to HMRC in the form of VAT, right? Whereas before you were not paying any VAT on your sale price, you now have to pay the VAT on all of your revenue. So, say for example, you do £120,000 a month in revenue, including VAT. £20,000 of that now has to go to the VAT to HMRC, right? So you've got £20,000 that you owe at the top. Now the point of a VAT return is so that you can, you pay this 20,000, but you can also claim back on any expenses and within the business. So you can now claim you've got this £20,000 at the top, but you may claim for your product costs. So you may have spent £60,000 on products, meaning £10,000 is simply claimed on VAT straight away. You may have expenses for your accountants, softwares, any expenses throughout the business, you can claim VAT back on through your VAT return. So your VAT, if say for example you are doing £120,000 per month in sales, your VAT liability may be £6,000, £7,000, £8,000 for the month. Okay, depending on how much you've generated in sales and how much you've actually spent and how much you're able to reclaim on VAT. So the purpose of a VAT return every quarter in our case is to pay the VAT that we've charged and also reclaim the VAT back on any expenses that we've paid within the business. So what are some of the things that I would recommend you need when you are going VAT registered? So some of them I've already alluded to, but the first one is get an accountant and seek professional advice, okay? Get an accountant, get a bookkeeper if you need. You fully need to understand the process and make sure everything is being reconciled correctly and efficiently, okay? If you choose to do this yourself with no software, it's going to take you years and years to actually reconcile all these different transactions, right? So you need an accountant to make sure everything's running smoothly and everything is going okay. And they can assist with preparing the VAT returns, filing them, and all you have to do is just pay for them. So to assist the accountant or the bookkeeper with their filings, I would also recommend getting a couple of softwares. Okay, so the first one you may already have, but it's Xero. Okay, so you can get Xero or QuickBooks. I think they're very similar. But basically what this will help you do is reconcile all of the payments going in and out of your bank account, making sure you're claiming the correct amount of VAT and expenses against the business. Okay, and again, these will make your bookkeeper's job, or if you decide to do it yourself, your job 10 times easier. Okay, and the second one is Link My Books. So Link My Books is only essential once you've gone VAT registered. Okay, but I would say it's an absolutely essential software to use. Okay, Link My Books in effect helps speaks to Amazon and it speaks to Xero, okay, and helps reconcile the two. So it helps reconcile all your VAT, making sure that you've paid the correct amount, you've charged the correct amount, and basically making sure that your Amazon disbursements match up to your Xero account. When you sell on Amazon, there can be so many different types of VAT and so many different charges that have different rates of VAT on them. Sometimes they need to be reclaimed, sometimes they don't. Link My Books is basically an automated software that is specifically designed to help you with this. So with Amazon, you'll get reimbursements, reversal reimbursements, shipping fees, chargebacks, refunds, all these different kind of charges, right? You need to make sure that the VAT is correct on all of these, okay? So Link My Books is essential when doing that, and I would highly recommend getting it. So ultimately, to finalize, if you are really looking to take your Amazon business to the next level and really try to scale it, you are going to have to go VAT registered, okay? It's not optional. Every business in the UK, as soon as they hit £90,000 within a rolling 12 months of turnover, does have to go VAT registered. I know it may seem daunting. I know it may seem quite scary at first. Hopefully this video has answered a few of your questions and helped you prepare more for the VAT registration process. I have done a couple of other videos on how you should actually prepare in terms of your Amazon business, how you should prepare for VAT registration, how it's going to affect you, the challenges that we personally faced, how we overcame them. I've done a couple of videos on that, which I will link to in the description. But ultimately, don't be feared. Just go in it. Make sure you understand understand what it is, how it works, and make sure you've got the correct people around you and the correct information around you to make sure that you really manage to scale your Amazon business. That being said, if you are an Amazon seller within the UK and you are creeping up towards that VAT threshold, maybe you've just started and you may be doing 3, 5, 10K a month in revenue, you really want to take your business to the next level, you really want to scale the business, go down in the description of this video and there will be a link to book in a call with myself or my team. Now, don't worry, it's not a sleazy sales pitch, and it will be an informal conversation about where you're at now, what you're looking to achieve, and ultimately whether or not we can help you achieve your goals. Okay. We help existing Amazon sellers scale their businesses to multiple 6 or 7 figures. Okay. Worked for us, it's worked for all of our students, and we give you all of the plug and play documents, all the spreadsheets, templates, guides, everything that we use in our business to really create what we've got here today. We give to you guys in order to help you scale. Okay. So go down the description, book a call, and I'll see you on the next video.